of Philippians. Philippians chapter 4. Philippians chapter 4, I'm reading from verses 1 till verses 9. Philippians 4, 1 to 9. And this afternoon, I want to talk about staying true to God. How do we stay true to God? Again, we don't have a problem to try to stay true to people. We're trying to stay true to our girlfriend and our boyfriend and our cousin and our wife and our husband and we're trying hard to stay true. And as much as you're trying to stay true, they'll kick you. Anyway going to get kicked. Now don't get me wrong. Nothing wrong with trying to stay true to them. But consider staying true to God. It's all worth it. It's all worth it. Philippians 4 verse 1. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, stay true to the Lord. What does that mean? What will that translate to you? Stay true to the Lord. It says, I love you and long to see you, dear friends, for you are my joy and the crown I receive from my work. In verse 2 it says, now I appeal to Judea and Syntyche, please, because you belong to the Lord. It says, please, because you belong to the Lord, settle your disagreement. It's interesting. Paul's talking about two women here who are having issues with agreements. Sounds like pretty much a normal church. and listen, it says, settle your disagreement. And I ask you, my true partner, to help these two women, for they worked hard with me in telling others the good news. These two women in the church have been working hard to share the good news and doing ministry, and they're fighting with one another. Wow. We're talking about the church of Jesus Christ. It's in the Bible. It's a story in the Bible. Paul saying, hey, talk to these two women. Please, I plead. You both are doing ministry. You're doing a fantastic job, and you have disagreements among you. So settle it. Please settle it. They worked along with Clement and the rest of my co-workers whose names are written in the book of life. Verse 4 says, always be full of joy in the Lord. Always be full of joy in the Lord. This morning, Tamil service, I was telling them, that's the most hardest thing for a Christian to do, to be joyful. It's a challenging thing to be joyful. It's not an easy thing to be joyful. Because 50-60% of the day or the week or the month, someone is frustrating us, hurting us, irritating us, and messing around with us. How do you be joyful when someone's doing that to you? You see, that's why the Bible is saying be joyful. The Bible knows someone is going to irritate you. And it's saying, use that opportunity to be joyful. That's why I want you to be joyful. God's not telling us to be joyful for nothing. He knows we are going through this. He's saying, that's why I want you to be joyful, because that's the only medicine for your hurt. Sometimes it's interesting when people get hurt, they come to the pastor or they go to someone and say, brother, pray for me, brother, I'm very hurt. Nothing wrong with praying for you. But you know what's the better medicine? Being joyful. God's telling, I've got a quick fix for you, man. Be joyful instead of asking anybody to pray for you. By the time you try to reach the guy to pray for you, I promise you will be okay if you just be joyful. It's just be joyful. Always be joyful in the Lord. I say it again, rejoice. Look at that word there, always. It's not just saying be joyful. It says always be joyful. Anytime. Doesn't matter what you're going through. Be joyful. And rejoice. Verse 5 is a very interesting verse. Okay? It says, let everyone see that you are considerate in all you do. Wow. It's saying, let everyone see that you are considerate in all that you do. So what is God asking us to do this morning? You know what is His word actually telling us to do? He's actually making it very clear and saying, emphasize to people, convince them that you're a considerate person. You know, I've always said this statement. I think all of us have said this statement. I don't care what people think about me. Have you said that? Of course you've said that. I don't know. I'm not bothered what he or she thinks of me. I'm bothered what God thinks of me. Wrong. Correction, please. Wrong. God's saying, I am bothered about what people think about you. Look at the verse, please. If you think what I'm saying here is wrong, you can come and speak to me after the service. Look at what it says here. It says, let everyone. Let who? It never says let heaven. It never says let God. It never says let the Holy Spirit. It never says let the angel. It says let everyone. And who's the everyone? Who's part and parcel of your life? The good, the bad, the ugly, the enemy, the friend, the well-wisher, the criticizer, everybody. Let everyone see that you are considerate in all that you do. Have you realized what a big responsibility we have to make everybody see we are considerate? So don't ever imagine of using that statement, I don't care what people think about me. Of course you better think what people think about you. If you have a problem, you'll have to go and talk with God directly here and get yourself excused from this verse if you think you have the guts to do that. It says, let everyone. So basically he's saying, prove yourself to everyone that you are a considerate person. So you know what basically God's saying? You have to wait for people to certify you. They have to certify you. You can't just walk away and ignore people. You can't do that. This is a command. It's a requirement. And soon after that verse it says, remember the Lord is coming soon. Isn't that interesting that the verse comes after that? Let everybody see that you're a considerate person in all that you do. And it says, remember the Lord is coming soon. What has that got to do with what he just said? Are you putting the dots together? What has that got to do with what he just said? You know what he's saying? Remember the Lord is coming soon to judge you. Hey, be considerate. I'm coming soon. It's like someone calling and telling you, hey, get the biryani ready. Why? I'm coming in 5 minutes. Oh, I thought you're coming tomorrow. No, sorry. You've got 5 minutes to get the biryani ready. I'm coming there. Gosh, that's not enough time, and I don't care. Work it out. If you can't make it, go buy it. I'm coming. So he's not saying, make the biryani and keep it ready. He's saying, I'm coming. I'm coming to taste it. Get your act right, because I'm coming soon. And God, why are you coming? To talk about what I just said. Because we have a discussion here. You're in big trouble if you're not doing what I just said. Verse 6 says, don't worry about anything. That's a very nice verse. Take that seriously and personally, please. We do exactly the opposite. We worry about everything. God's saying, don't worry about anything. What would that translate to you in your normal life and work? Don't stress yourself. Don't worry about what people say. Don't worry about comments. Don't worry about judgments. Don't worry about accusations. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about anything. It says, don't worry about anything. Look what it says after that. Instead. So what is it asking you to do? Instead of worry about everything, it says, instead, it's asking you to replace something here. Don't worry. Instead, pray about everything. That's what we don't do. We don't pray. We worry and we complain and we argue and we criticize and we backbite and we're just doing all these things except praying. It's okay to worry, but it's not okay for it to take big leaps in your life. It says, don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. It's not even telling you go to the pastor and tell him to pray for you. Because what is he going to do? What if he's involved in it? What if you have a problem with the pastor? Which most people have actually. This guy is a jerk. This guy. So imagine going and telling him, you're an idiot. I have a problem with you. You can't tell him that. I mean, even if you want to tell him, you won't be able to tell him. So it says, don't go and tell him about it. Go and tell God about it. Pray. Complain to God. Argue with God. But you know what will happen if you go and tell it to other people? There's a big pot that will start cooking, and that's called gossip. It's a pretty tasty dish for a lot of people. We love it. We all love it, by the way. Everybody loves gossip. It's the tastiest. Prayer is medicine. It's like bitter gourd. Karela. Nobody likes to pray. It's bitter. Everybody loves gossip. It's juicy, man. Add a little bit more. It's very flavorful. Add a little bit more chili, please. I like it spicy. And lots of people are waiting with chilies around. Lots of chilies around. You get a fantastic flavor. But you know what will happen? After you go eat all that flavor, you come back home, you'll have loose motion. It's not a good flavor to eat. It's not good for your soul. God's saying, come to me. Let's talk. You come pray. Come talk to me. Come tell me what you're feeling. All your anger and frustrations and irritations, go and empty it to God. He's a safe person. You know why? He won't tell it to others. You go and tell this to somebody else. By the time you get home in your auto or your bike, 20 people know about it. And then the person who you spoke about gets to know it. And then they don't like you anymore. And you also know that they got to know that they don't like you anymore. And then you're not able to smile at them. Why all of this nonsense? Why? I'm asking, why this nonsense? Just go to God. It's okay to be jealous, angry, and frustrated and all that. Go to God, shout at Him about your frustration about somebody. You know what will happen? First of all, it won't go to anybody else. Second of all, by the time you leave Him, you're healed. You're healed. You're healed. The Lord is coming and said, don't worry about anything else. Pray for everything. Tell God what you need. Tell Him. And thank Him for all He has done. That's a secret, my friends. Don't just tell Him what you need. Thank Him. Thankfulness, gratitude is the key. Seriously, I'm telling you. The more you keep on thanking, you will see blessing, blessing, blessing. If you don't have a reason to thank, say thank you. Just say thank you, even if you don't have a reason to say thank you. Just say thank you. No harm saying thank you. You're not going to lose anything. There's one thing that I like about foreign countries that I find very hard that people don't do in India. Abroad, when you go anywhere, when you're walking on the road, if somebody looks at you, they smile and say good morning. The first time I went abroad, the first time I went to the States, 2007, first time. I'm walking around, everybody's smiling, and I said, where did I meet this person? I'm trying to figure out. Where did I meet this person? And then I asked my friend, did you meet this person? I said, no. Why are they smiling at me? Oh, everybody does that here. Wow, really? My life changed. Because nobody did that to me in India. They showed faces. They didn't smile. You don't need to know someone to smile. Smile. It's a nice thing. You don't have to have a reason to say thank you. Say thank you. And when you say thank you, you'll find the reason that you never had. Did you just get what I said? If you don't have a reason to say thank you to God, go ahead and say thank you, and you will find the reason that you never had after the thank you. I'm telling you, do it. Even if you don't believe in it, just do it. You'll see what God does. Be thankful. Tell God what you need. Thank Him for all of that. And then verse 7 says, then you will experience God's peace which exceeds anything we can understand. So when will you experience God's peace? After you say thank you. Look what it says there. Look at verse 6. Look at verse 7. Verse 6. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all of what He has done. And it says, then. Tell Him what you need. Thank Him for what He's done. Only then you will experience God's peace. If you don't, you won't. God's peace comes to people who talk to Him and thank Him. You will get God's peace. It says God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. You won't even understand what you're experiencing. That's what it is. Anything beyond what you can understand, you'll experience it. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus. So what happens is, you talk to God, you complain to God, you thank God, God gives you His peace, and then that peace of God, look at what it says, His peace will guard your hearts and minds. So what happens is, in return, He's giving you a medication that will heal you completely, and you won't get back into the rut of being that crazy guy that you used to be, because God's peace has come into your life. So you won't get back into that place again. Verse 8 says, and now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. One final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true, not what is false. Fix your thoughts on what is true. When people say things to you, when people complain things about you, when people gossip things to you, when people find fault and judge, the first question you need to ask, is it true? Ask yourself, is it true? What I'm hearing, is it true? What the Bible says here? Brothers and sisters, one final thing, fix your thoughts on what is true. When you don't fix your thoughts on what is true and fix it on what is false, you're getting into big trouble. It's pulling you down the road. That's when trouble starts, because you're focusing on things that are not true. And things that are not true are from the devil, not from God. Things that are true are from the Lord. So it says, brothers and sisters, fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable. If it's not true and if it's not honorable, don't even consider what is said. Don't even consider. A big problem is coming. There's a red flag that's lifted high. Watch out for red flags in your life. Watch out for red flags. You and me need to have more green flags than red flags. You watch a red flag, you're in trouble. Go fix it. It says, fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Look at what it's saying. Where should we fix our thoughts and our hearts? On what is right, what is true, what is honorable, what is pure, what is lovely, and what is admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Don't give ear and heart and time for false things. Trouble. It's trouble. That's where we all find and get into trouble. Because we are not focusing on things that are true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. We're not focusing on that. We're focusing on all the opposite false things. Our heart is getting disturbed, our spirit is getting disturbed, our mind is getting disturbed, and our whole life is messed. And what's the end result? We lose wonderful relationships with people and family. Wonderful relationships. Just because of these things. You see the trap here? You see the problem here? And very convenient to say the devil came and did it. No. Don't use the name of the devil in vain. Don't. Not good. And says, think about these things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Think about these things. And in verse 9 it says, keep putting into practice all you learned and received from me. Look at what he's saying. He says, keep putting into practice. Who's saying this? Paul's saying, hey, keep putting into practice whatever you heard and learned from me. Do it. Practice it. What we do most of the time, with or without our knowledge, we hear, we don't practice. Sunday morning is sometimes entertainment time. Sunday mornings are sometimes emotionally encouragement time. Sunday morning sometimes is more like, rejuvenating time. Sunday morning is more shaking up time. But Sunday morning has to be practical time. If you heard it, do it. Why is God speaking to you through somebody? Be it anybody. Why? You think he's jobless? You think God is jobless to come and speak to you on Monday or Tuesday or Friday? It doesn't matter. He's got an agenda. And Paul's rightly saying it here. Whatever you've heard and learned, put it into practice, people. It says, keep putting into practice all you've learned and received from me. Everything you heard from me and saw me doing. Paul's saying, everything you heard from me, everything you saw me doing, put it into practice. And it says, then the God of peace will be with you. When? Then. When will the God of peace be with you? When you put into practice that which you heard and learned from me. Until then, the God of peace is not going to come near you unless you put it into practice. You know, we go for swimming classes, we go for dance classes, we go for all the classes. What can a swimming coach do to you apart from telling you this way, that way? Then after that, what happens? After that, what happens? If you don't practice, you're going to sink and drown. Can you go after the 10-day course, swimming course, after the 10-day course, can you go to the coach and say, give me back, I want a refund. I'm not able to swim. Try it. Just try it. You go driving classes, right? We all go that elbow. How many days? 3 days, 4 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 days, a month. You can go even for 60 days or 6 months for driving class and still not be able to drive on the road. Seriously, I'm not joking. You can go the whole year for driving class and you'll never be able to go on the road. You know why? You never practice. So he'll tell you what to do. Then afterwards, when you're alone, you work it out. You take it and go out. You see, here is a nice place. Church, meetings, crusades, conference. It's a nice place. It's a cozy place to hear. Good, fantastic. You're listening, you're hearing. But then when you move out of this door is when the rubber hits the road. There's a lovely saying, a ship, a big strong ship, is not meant to be made to be anchored in the harbor. It's made to go and prove itself in the waters. A good ship is not made to be anchored in the harbor and selfied or photo clicked. No, not made for that. It's meant to be sent out to the rough seas. Let it face the storms of the wind. Let it come back in one piece. That's a good ship. Christian life is not about attending church and going for seminars and conferences and fasting prayer. That's not Christian life. Christian life is after you attend all that and hear of that and learn of that, go face the storm, come back in one piece. That's the Christian life we're talking about. That's what Jesus wants. If you can go face the world, come back again in one piece, you made it. Congratulate yourself. Tap yourself on the back. Good job. Good job. You must be very proud of yourself if you come back in one piece. That's Christian life. Hearing and doing, exercising and practicing, and coming back and saying, that was nice, man. I never expected certain things, but that was good. And that's what Paul's talking about. Stay true to God. Take all his advice. When you read the Bible, try to exactly do what it says. No compromises, no adulterations, no adjustments. No, just do what it says. Go back to God and demand your blessing. Go back to God. I'm not saying request your blessing. I'm saying demand your blessing. If you do what it says, you can demand God for your reward. If you compromise and do some adulteration and a little bit of adjustments, then you know what will happen when you go to God? You'll be requesting him. You know, there's a big difference when you go to God and kind of, God, can I have a little salary hike? That's one way of going to God. And the other way is, you're going to go to good God, where's my salary hike? You know the big difference between both? The first one is not good because you yourself know that you don't deserve it. You're trying to coax him around. The second one is, you know what you did. He knows what you did. No argument. It's done. Don't go to God with requests. Go to Him with demands. Because that shows your confidence level in what you obeyed. Go to God boldly. Ask Him questions. You should be able to go to God and ask Him questions. What's happening, God, here? What's happening? I thought we had a deal. I did what you told me to do. Now what's happening? And maybe He'll tell you, I was just trying to see how you'll react. Don't worry, it's done. Or maybe He'll say, yes, you've done your job. It's all good. Then you may say, so what? When? Wait, it'll be done. You can go back. You're sure it'll be done. Just have to wait. But if you go there and say, can you do this? Why? God says, why? Nothing, don't worry. just let her ask. No. Don't just go and just ask. You're wasting your time. You're making a fool of yourself. Go with confidence to God. But if you do all what it says, you can go to God with confidence. That's what's said.